dangerous new flashpoint is unfolding along Ukraine's northeastern border as Kyiv battles what it calls an attempted Russian breakthrough in the Sumy region. Ukrainian forces say intense fighting is underway in the village of Grabovske, where troops are scrambling to push Russian units back across the border. Officials insist the line is holding, even as pressure mounts. This marks a renewed Russian push into a region that had largely avoided heavy ground combat since Ukraine's swift counteroffensive in 2022. Ukraine's human rights ombudsman says the situation has taken a darker turn. According to Kyiv, around 50 civilians from Grabovske were illegally detained, held without contact, and then forcibly moved into Russian territory. AFP has not independently verified the claims, and Moscow has issued no official response on the alleged civilian transfers. But Russia's version of events tells a very different story. In statements released by the Russian Defense Ministry, Moscow says its forces have improved tactical positions across multiple fronts, including in the Sumy region, where Russian units claim to have struck Ukrainian brigades near Rizhevka and Alexeyevka. The Kremlin says Ukrainian forces suffered significant losses, including personnel and vehicles, as Russian units from the Sever group of forces pressed their operations forward. Russian military updates go further, claiming advances not just near Sumy, but across Kharkiv, Donetsk, Luhansk, Zaporizhia, and Dnipropetrovsk regions. According to Moscow, its Zapad, Yug, Center, Vostok, and Dnieper groups of forces inflicted heavy losses on Ukrainian brigades, destroyed tanks, including Western-supplied Abrams and Leopard tanks, and struck ammunition depots, fuel sites, and electronic warfare stations. Russia also claims its aviation, missile troops, drones, and artillery hit Ukraine's defense industry, power facilities, storage hubs, and long-range drone assembly sites in what it describes as a coordinated, large-scale operation. Air defense systems, Moscow says, intercepted dozens of Ukrainian drones. Kyiv, however, maintains that Russian forces have not achieved a breakthrough in Sumy and insists its troops are actively resisting incursions while evacuating civilians from exposed border communities using armored vehicles. The attempted push comes as Russia continues to gain ground slowly in eastern Ukraine, even as renewed diplomatic efforts to end the war quietly take shape. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says the pressure has been relentless. In just 1 week, he says Russia launched around 1,300 attack drones, nearly 1,200 guided aerial bombs, and 9 missiles of various types. On the borderlands of Sumy, the war is tightening its grip, with civilians caught in between, rival claims colliding, and no clear sign of de-escalation. What happens here next could reshape the front and the trajectory of the war itself. Another deadly night in Ukraine's war, and the Black Sea is once again at the center of the storm. The death toll from a Russian missile strike on Ukraine's port city of Odessa has climbed from 7 to 8. At least 30 people are wounded, according to Ukrainian authorities. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky described the situation in Odessa as harsh, accusing Russia of deliberately trying to choke Ukraine's access to the Black Sea, a lifeline for trade and security. Zelensky also signaled accountability at home, saying he is considering replacing the head of Ukraine's Southern Air Command, Dmytro Karpenko, following the strikes on Odessa. Ukraine's Deputy Prime Minister, Oleksiy Kuleba, said Russian forces also targeted the nearby port city of Pivdeny, striking several reservoirs in a separate attack. Ukraine's military says it has struck back. Special forces carried out a drone attack on a Lukoil oil rig in the Caspian Sea, as well as a Russian military patrol ship named Okhotnik. The military added that the Filanovsky oil rig, already hit twice earlier this month, was damaged again in the latest strike. Ukraine also claims it destroyed 2 Russian fighter jets at an airfield in occupied Crimean Peninsula. Meanwhile, Russia's Ministry of Defense says its forces have taken control of 2 villages, Svitle in eastern Donetsk and Vysoke in the northeastern Luhansk region. As missiles, drones, and territory change hands, the battle for Ukraine's ports and control of the Black Sea is intensifying, with no sign of de-escalation. A new diplomatic push is on the table, but Ukraine's president is keeping expectations firmly in check. Volodymyr Zelensky says the United States has proposed a new format for talks with Russia, involving 3-way discussions between national security advisors from Ukraine, Russia, and the U.S. While welcoming Washington's involvement, Zelensky expressed skepticism that the proposal would bring anything new, warning that past talks have delivered limited results. Still, the Ukrainian leader said U.S.-led negotiations remain the most viable path forward. Zelensky said Ukraine would support trilateral talks if they lead to tangible progress, including prisoner of war swaps or preparations for a meeting between national leaders. Zelensky also urged European leaders to move decisively on seizing frozen Russian assets and redirecting them to fund Ukraine's war effort. He said doing so would strengthen Ukraine's leverage at the negotiating table and help sustain the country through a prolonged conflict. According to the International Monetary Fund, Ukraine will require approximately $161 billion in 2026 and 2027 as the ongoing war continues to strain the nation's economy.